And this is Paul again, and what I want to do is go back to the going into Germany. There was a couple of things I wanted to add there, which I'm going to do now. And what it is that during our problems on the Siegfried line there, one of the things that happened that I omitted, and I wanted to add it, is that when our tanks would be fired on, they'd back up real fast, and there'd be a group of infantry behind the tanks, and sometimes they would have to really scramble and get away. And in this one occasion, right after Lieutenant Woodbury was knocked out, and the squad leader of the 3rd Squad was killed. And so it left Dynamite Dean, one of my characters in my outfit, it left him the senior man in his squad. And so I told him, "You're the squad leader now." And he was just a private first class. And he says, "Well, I don't want to be a squad leader." And I said, "It's too bad. You're the top guy in the group. You're the oldest one. You're the best experienced. So you're it. So get over there and take charge of the 3rd Squad." And so not too long after I put him in that position, the tanks that they were near got fired on, and the tank backed up real fast, and Dynamite got run over by the tank and buried in the mud. And so I figured that he was done for, so I turned him in as killed in action. And so later on, in getting back to St. Louis now, I was out of the service then in St. Louis in October of that year of 45, and what happened was the doorbell rang at my house, and I was upstairs, and I run down the stairs, opened the door, and there stood Dynamite at the door. And I said, "What the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be dead," because I turned him in as killed in action. And he says, "Let me show you something." So he pulled his shirt open, and he had tank tracks on his chest. And then he turned around and he says, "And I got silver knuckles in my backbone." And he says, "What happened is I was buried in the mud, and after you guys all left, the medics came up and were taking the bodies out and all that. And they said, let's let him go because he's done for." And he says, "I heard them, so I tried to move in the mud, and they saw me moving down in the hole, and they say, 'He's still alive.' So he said, they pulled me out." And he says, "I've spent months in the hospital getting the silver knuckles on my backbones, and the tank tracks on my chest, of course, are still there." The thing about the whole deal is the fact that Dynamite is the one that introduced me to the girl that I married, so he was saved for a reason. And I wanted to show the picture here of Gurney and I just before we were married. I was 22 then, she was 22. She was just a few months older than I was. And anyway, of all the strange things that could happen, here she was. He introduces me to her, and she turns about to be the one that I was married to for 67 years. And of all things, that the guy that I turned in as being killed in action turns out to be the guy that introduced me to the girl I married. What a deal, huh? And we want to go ahead and add now to the rest of the story of being evacuated to England, and that, which I already have on the tape. We were going to try to add that to there at this point. And so I'm going to cut off here so we could go ahead and add that part. Amen.